Hello, everyone. Let me get this thing out of the way. Welcome to Epitaphs. I'm Kristen. I know that I have been gone a couple weeks. I've been out, had a death in the family, so I took some time, but it's a good time to come back and reflect. And I am going to catch up on actually Joi from week 3 doing Miscegenation. That's where I left off. But just a recap, this is Epitaphs, so I'm kind of going in reflection of each week throughout the Museum of Dead Words, and I'll be creating over the whole show, the series of the whole show, I'll be creating a memoryscape, which is a combination of people and place into one artwork. I actually have some right here in progress, so just because it's within reach, this is something similar to what I'm going to be making. And so you can definitely check back through the first 2 weeks where I started to create one of these pieces that starts digitally, but I'm going to do that today too. But this is a print onto metal, and it's created in the computer, printed on an inkjet printer, which is right there, and then layered over with text and mixed media. And so this is a really fun, this show is a really fun application into this work that I have been doing for about 6-7 years now. And so, yeah, we're creating a memoryscape. And so let's jump in. I'm going to pull up Photoshop. So I'll share my screen. And right here, we have the memoryscape that I did in the last video that aired, which was about Stephen Montanar, who did racist and racism. And so you can look at that video to see how I got to this, but just quickly, it's a combination of layers that started as an image of him. You can kind of see the colors there. And yeah, I went through that and making colors. And then before that, our first week, I began a memoryscape about Clara Aiden, who interpreted the word hypocrite for the museum. And so, again, I went through, made colors. And so I'm going to be reaching back to these as I begin to flesh out this full piece. So I think today what I'm going to do is go ahead and work on Joi's memoryscape. And I know that this week we talked about sexism, but I really want to give every word and artist the time that they deserve in these pieces. So I am this week, by the next video in a week, I'm going to have a lot more to add to these because we've done normal with Lynn, who had the amazing animations, and she gave me a lot of really great info. So I'm going to have a really good, thorough piece about her and her work. And then this past week, Dialect spoke with Sophie about sexism and had an incredible, fully formed documentary about her work and her installation. So please go and check back on those because it's been super intriguing. These artists have dedicated so much of their time and passions into doing these pieces. So let's go ahead and start with Joi. And I'm going to pull in some of these. So where am I? We are here, and I'm going to start with this landscape format. And let's see. I'm going to start with this landscape format. And what I do is I'm just going to go ahead and start by making colors. Again, I make colors using dates. And I need to pull this up because I remember from last week or from the last time I was on that you can't see this color picker, but I really like to show you guys what I do. So I'm going to share this with you now. And so In Joi's conversation in her work about miscegenation, she was, of course, we talked a lot about the case Loving versus Virginia, which is a Supreme Court ruling from 1967 that outlawed the anti-miscegenation laws that prohibited this interracial marriage. And so that I'm going to use to make a color and to kind of make a couple different colors using this date. And so the Supreme Court case was June 12th, 1967. And so what I do in that window that you see on the screen here is these represent cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And so I make colors by manipulating those numbers. And so I'm going to just start by going June 6th, the 12th of 1967. And so for sake of having not let's see, 1967, you get a lot. So what this is saying is that we have this color that I've made, which you see here under new, it's kind of a gray. It's saying that 6% of that color is cyan, 12% of that color is magenta, 19% of that color is yellow, and 67% of that color is black. And so I go in like that, and I think, okay, yeah, it went away. So I'm just going to go and do a couple of those, but I'll do it. You're not going to be able to see the color picker. For some reason, this screen share only picks up on like one window. So I'm going to go ahead just like I just did and make a couple more colors using that Loving versus Virginia Supreme Court case. And so I'm going to go ahead and then put in 67 in yellow and 0 into black, just to give us a little bit of variety in these colors. I like to change up the numbers. So then I'm going to go 12th of June, which isn't too big of a shift, but it is a little bit more of like a key lime green. And then let's go ahead and put in 67. That's nice. 67 into the cyan. You got to remember to copy these layers every time. Okay. And then let's go and do 12 in magenta, 6 in yellow. It's not much different. Let's do 12 in cyan, 67 in magenta, 6 in yellow. And we get a pink. I do tend to get like these very primary colors, of course, because we're working with just four of these colors. So what I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to show you without getting too deep into just Photoshop stuff. This is fun for me though, and it's fun to explain this. So I'm going to, because sometimes there's like some Photoshop people who will find these videos and it might be interesting. So if I want to change these up, I'm going to go in here and maybe I'll change the shade. And so sometimes I'll go in here and add like, I could do 67 in this. And that'll give me a little deeper pink. Actually, I do kind of like the lighter though. So we could go like 12 in there. And then I lost you again. And then same thing. Let's do some, we could change the brightness, or we could then go into here into RGB, which I haven't really messed around with a lot, but let's see what happens if we do this. Okay, a nice maroon. All right, so let's start there. That's a pretty good start to give us some colors to work with. And then what else I do is now you've just seen how I've incorporated dates to make colors, and now I also use dates to pick these certain parts of the image. And so I'm going to do that now. Let me pull in one of Joi's pieces. These are her provided images from her work. And let's see. This is Joi, beautiful Joi. Let's do, I kind of like that. I mean, this is our installation that she set up outside of her house. It was Miscegenation Nation was the name of her whole body of work. And so I'm going to pull this in. If I can get over there. Sometimes I end up getting like too many windows open. So let me pull in this to here. It is pretty small, but we're not going to worry about that for now. I'm just going to bring it in. Okay. And then I have this grid that represents months and days. And so I'm going to show you how I use this because I don't know that I've done this yet. I might have on the first video, but I really do enjoy using this. So let's get everything kind of next to each other so I don't have to worry about this going back and forth. Okay. So I'm going to pull this in over top. And then what I can do here, let's see if my tablet is on and working. This handy little thing connects to my screen, and this is how I do a lot of my drawing and editing. And so I like to use this because it kind of makes me feel like more of an artist, like I'm actually painting or something. And so what I'm going to do is, again, pick a date, which I need to get some more info from her, but for now I'm going to work with this. We can work with this June 12th, 1967. And then let's also do the date of their live stream, which was the week of September 21st. And so that would have been, I think it was the 24th. Yeah, Thursday the 24th. So I'm going to use that as a date. And so what I'm going to do is with this bottom layer turned on, I'm going to select some pixels. And again, you guys, well, maybe you can see this. I'm using this magic wand tool. And so, again, you can kind of see. Am I on? Is my mouse on? It might be dead. Okay. So that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this. So what I'm going to do, September 24th. Is this dot, is this intersection right here. And so if I select with the magic wand, that's going to just spread out. I can't see what I'm picking, but you can see that I have that layer turned on, which is the image of her installation. So it gave us a black selection because, again, I don't know what I'm selecting. And sometimes what I'll do is spread that out. So then I go up top and go select similar, which I don't think you can see. And so it's going to select this similar. Now let's do something fun because I know that those are like mostly just big blocks of black in the image. I want to add some vibrant stuff to this. So I'm going to go ahead on the magenta layer and let's copy that with that selected. And so what that gives us is those pink, and that's based on this date. Okay. And then same thing. Let's do June 12th. Okay. So we have June 12th. Oh, June 12th down here. Again, I don't know what it is. It might be the same, but let's select the similar pixels. And then I'm going to go on this yellow and copy that. And let's bring those up next to each other. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and merge those. And then we can select, I like this magenta too. And then what we can start to do is, let's see what we got with that. Okay. Let's then pull in. So here's where I'm going to start to incorporate some of the previous memoryscapes that I've done for Clara and Stephen. So I'm going to pull in this. I'm just going to go ahead and merge this all so that I can bring everything over. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Stephen's memoryscape. I love this. I love these colors. Again, if you want to see how I did this, you can watch the previous Epitaphs video where I created this version. But let's bring this in also. Auto select, go away. Bring that one in. Okay, now we start to have fun again. We get to this point where I'm really kind of playing around. I have these formulas, kind of these things that I use to create something, but I don't know what it's going to be. And I've said before, it's kind of like this planned spontaneity, which is really fun. You really get into the art making. And then I really think that the energy of the work, the energy of the person starts to come through. And that's when it really clicks for me. And so it's fun to combine these three, the first three words and artists of the museum. Again, this is hypocrite, which this was made off of Clara Aiden, who lives in Nigeria. She did hypocrite, and then racist and racism, and then miscegenation. And so all artists of color, all like very interesting experiences, and I think very different from my own. And so this is, in doing this work too, it is really reflecting on and like honoring their presence and their story. And so it really is like I'm always learning and doing this work, which is, I think, is why I love it so much. So I'm gonna merge some of these, kind of start to blend some of these together. And so let me see what we can do. Oh, that's cool. By bringing these together. You know, I have been trying to keep these to about 20 minutes, and it's crazy how fast the time goes, you guys. I'm already at 18 and a half minutes, but I feel like I'm just getting started. So maybe it might go a little longer today, but yeah, I just feel like there's a lot to get to that I want to kind of experiment with this one. So bear with me. Again, also you can throw something in the chat wherever you are, and I'll come back and check in. And I'd love to answer some questions to get some engagement. If you have any questions or like observations or input about the work that I'm making, whether we're live or not, when you're seeing this, we'll see the chats and we would love to engage with you guys. So yeah, let me know what you're thinking. So yeah, let's start to blend some of these. So I'm using these different blending modes in Photoshop. Again, it's not something that you can see, I think, on your end. But let us see what, okay. Yeah, now we start to get a little something. Now this is interesting because this reminds me of like a VHS static or something, which is interesting, cool too, when you're talking about memory. And so yeah, I just like want to start to blend these together. I might grab another image that might give me a little more. This is a snippet of Joi's artwork about miscegenation. Again, all of that can be found on the website. I think I need to update that stuff, but online and in the artist talk, she showed this in person. And I know I'm remembering one other thing that I wanted to incorporate into this, so I'm going to be sure to do that. So let me bring this one over. Get some color into here. Maybe a little bit more to work with. And then I'm going to maybe blend this kind of shape here and combine it with this and see what we get. Sometimes, you know, if I start to get a little crazy with it honestly helps when I like do way more like experimental kind of blending modes and stuff. I think it does start to help these things come together. So I'm just going to play around. I might go silent for a moment just so I can play around with some of these. But yeah, again, feel free to put anything in the chat or anything, guys. Again, you can see I'm using this dates to start selecting some things. I want to really start blending these together. So, because again, I'm making one memoryscape. And so if I start to blend these together, I'm going to get pieces from everything incorporated into one piece, which is going to incorporate 11 people, 11 stories, 11 artworks, which I've never done on that scale before. So it's really fun experiment. Again, you can learn more about memoryscapes at my website, which is kristencrouch.com. If you want to know more about what I'm doing, it'll give you a little more context. I don't go into it fully here just for the sake of like time and stuff, but you know, you can kind of see what I'm doing. But if you want to learn more about these and see more, kind of see what a finished one is going to look like, you can find that on my website. But let's see if I select out some of these, so I don't have like a full layer covering everything. If I select out, I'm going to get some negative space where other layers are going to show through from beneath. And that's where you start to get really able to combine these. So let me pull, this is the thing I wanted to do. I also use location data. And so what I did before I got on is I grabbed some locations that I use. I grab a topographic screen grab of West Africa, which a big part of Joi's process in her work, which actually, I hope she's okay with me, I'm gonna share her document, because it was such a thorough exploration of kind of her just miscegenation. And I think in talking with her, she learned a lot in doing this work. And so just talking about the colors that she used and why, I mean, this is like so much thought that she wasn't asked to do, but it inspired her work. And so the colors that she used and the history of miscegenation laws state to state, and then how each part of this body that she made, molded from her own body, what each part of that represented. And so this is giving me a lot of like dates and data. Again, when I'm offline, I'm going to go in and like tweak some of these things just so this isn't like a 3-hour long live stream, because it very well could be. But I don't know if anyone's going to sit and watch it that long. Maybe, but I'll go through and do more of like a time lapse, a sped up version, and talk over it next week. But yeah, this is her research, super thorough. Just talking about the history of miscegenation and then how all like some of these other words in our museum come into it. And so a big part of it, of her work, was she did a DNA test and found all of like her ancestry. And she did mention she was she has some French and British, Thailand, Myanmar, Haiti, West Africa, and she mentioned, I think she might have mentioned it in her talk with Dialect, but that she's a distant relative of Marie Antoinette, which is pretty amazing. And so what I did, again, let me share the screen back to Photoshop with you. What I did is I did a topographic screen grab of West Africa. And what I like to do is pull this in for textures. And then I also plotted all of those places on a map. And so what's not on here is Great Britain, which I'm not sure why. So I'm going to add that so I don't forget. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to pull this into her memoryscape. Let's get it up top. And in a similar way that I have used that date grid to select parts of the image, I'm going to use this location data to select parts of the image below. And so before I do that, let's see what we have. This is really interesting. Wow, this is really interesting. I'm going to use this. I'm going to transform this out a little bit just to kind of stretch more of the breadth of this image. And let's incorporate one of these colors. I do like this maroon. So I'm going to bring that up, and let's combine that with Steven's bit. Where is it? Up here. And bear with me. I don't know if you can kind of see what I'm doing on the side there, but I'm gonna combine this. That's nice. Okay. Merge. And then we'll have going on 30 minutes, y'all. I'm gonna try and wrap it up, but I just wanted to kind of show you what we've got here. All right, let's rotate this again. Sick. I like that. Maybe, do we like this brown? Let's see. Let me where did that maroon go? Well, I still have it over here. Okay, I'm gonna get that original maroon back in. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both. Do a little gradient real quick. Perfect. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, let's link these again, merge. I don't think you can see that window, but merging that. We've got some of Clara's coming through. Oh. I think I merged everything. That's fine. Okay. Let me bring that to the top. Okay. Bring that up. And then with our location, again, these are kind of the main the locations that make up Joi's DNA report that she mentioned in her interview. And so we have Haiti here. And what I'm going to do is, like I did similarly, like I did with the dates, I'm going to pick those on this layer. And let's see what we get. Haiti. We do a wand. Okay, it's there. Great Britain. France. West Africa. Thailand and Myanmar over here. All right, and so I'm going to do this a couple times because I want to get just these, West Africa, Haiti, Myanmar, Thailand, and I need to select similar so that it kind of grows that a little bit. Nice. Let's see what we get here. A lot of that cyan. I might go in and do that a little bit more. Select, or we can grow the selection. And yeah, I want to get in some of these. Again, plan spontaneity, guys. So we got, you know, this basic formula to inform what I'm doing, but I do want a little bit more. So I'm going to go in. Hopefully I can get a little bit more in here. Again, I'm going to continue to work on this because this deserves a lot more attention, but I don't want to, you know, keep y'all on here forever. I feel like I did a lot and then we got back to some bare bones, but yeah, you know, that's it. That's just it. It's kind of like give and take, see what we get, go back and forth. What happened here is I merged these layers. So I might go back, undo them. So I have a little bit more control over these individual layers, but I think this is a good ending point. I mean, this is interesting and we're starting to incorporate a lot of different sets of data. And so the fun part, the artistry really comes in this refining. And I think that can be, you know, since we're on this reflection, I think that can be, that's really symbolic to just a lot of the things that we're talking about in this show is just using your experience, embracing your experience, letting it empower you, not defeat you, to refine this into something that is uniquely yours and uniquely your own vision. You know, finding connections, these points of tangency. Dialect nailed it when he said that. We were in a meeting and he said that, and yeah, it has really stuck with me. But finding these points of tangency between your story, the people around you, understanding that we don't live on an island, you know, we're meant to have human interaction, and doing this work really helps me focus back in on that. And so, you know, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that I've found this process has found me, because it just is, it's how my mind works, of like finding connections and things that people might not think have any relation to each other, and then making something beautiful from whatever exists, whatever is there. And, you know, again, I know we're on week 5. We just wrapped up week 5. This has been based on week 3 with Joi. But again, like I said, I was offline a couple weeks. But just in terms of reflection, you know, we had the first 4 weeks were kind of the act one, which went through these 3 words plus normal. And with sexist and sexism, we're going to now go into slut and evil, which has kind of been like act 3 or act 2. And so I want to kind of like reflect more in those. Sorry, guys. I want to kind of reflect with that in mind of like these things as act and how they kind of relate to each other and how all of these words and the ideas that surround them kind of get incorporated into this larger theme of like truth, which is the end, and like universal experience. And yeah, I think I have a lot of things floating around my head, but this is just really fun. And so when I check back in next week, I'm going to go through normal with Lynn. Again, she gave me a lot of great info. She did stop motion animation about normal. And then I'm going to check in and also do work about sexism, which is our Mexico-based artist, Sophie. She's in Mexico City, and she did these flags and an installation and made like basically a documentary about her interviews. And so there's a lot to touch on there. And so I'm going to incorporate her work into what we have. And then Stevie, who is this upcoming week with slut, she's created a game, like a Jeopardy type game, going into the etymology of slut since its inception, like in the 1300s. Really interesting stuff. All of these artists are so talented, so different. And so, yeah, we're going to touch on everything. I'm going to try and work ahead so that we can get into the physical making of these pieces, like this one that I showed you. We're going to print together. We're going to do some handwriting. That's going to be based on the conversations with the artist. So there's so much more to come. Sometimes maybe this digital stuff can be a little daunting, a little like drawn out. Again, thanks for being here, being with me. I know this one went a little long, but I wanted to be sure to start blending some of these things together. Yeah, so we'll be here next week. Tune in. Tomorrow we have a lyric video dropping for Slut. On Tuesday, Dialect has got his blueprints in progress where he goes into the etymology of slut, does some freestyle, does his whole MC thing. And then on Wednesday is Word Nerd Wednesday. We like to do, try to get some Dead Words bucket submissions and some more things online on Instagram. And then on Thursday is the main event with Stevie, where they're going to be playing the game, talking about her experience, her research, her enthusiasm about this word, which since the beginning I've loved speaking with her and talking about her interpretation of the word. And then I'll be back on Sunday. So be sure to tune in, and thanks for being here. We'll see you this week. Thanks, guys.